Good morning students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. So today we are going to start a new chapter of class 6 science, that is chapter number 4, sorting materials into groups. So topics to be covered in this lesson are: first is introduction, then objects around us, material around us, why is sorting needed, properties of materials. In this section, we will study different properties of materials, that is appearance, hardness, solubility, transparency, float or sink in water, and last topic of this chapter is taste of metal. So let's start with our introduction part. So, what are the objects you see around us? So there are a lot of things which we see around us, right? So have you ever thought, what are these objects made up of? Different objects are made up of different materials, right? For example, if you take an example of bulb. Bulb contains glass, bulb contains filament. Inside the filament, a wire is there, right? If you take another example of container, container is used for store the things, right? So container is made up of plastic, steel or glass. So different objects are made up of different materials, right? So in this chapter, we are going to study why do we need to sort the things, why do we need to sort the objects or materials. Sorting means to classify into different groups, right? So, what is object? What is the difference between object and material? So, anything which we can see, which we can feel, which we can touch is object. And material, what do you mean by material? From which object is made up of, right? So, any particular object is made up of different or any particular object is made up of different types of materials. For example, chair. आपकी चेयर किससे? चेयर प्लास्टिक की भी होती है, चेयर मेटल की भी होती है, right? So any particular object is made up of different types of materials, right? So let me explain why is sorting needed and what are the properties of materials with the help of a slides. Okay, so let's start.
So I already told you about what is object, what is material. So let's study about how do you decide which material is used to make a particular object, right? So we have already studied about object and classification of objects and what is the advantage of sorting. The advantage of sorting and placing things in group is that it becomes very easy to locate a particular thing. Okay, for example, things arranged systematically in a grocer's shop. You can see in this diagram, in this picture, sorry. So, okay. So materials are used to make different kinds of things. Same material can be used to make different kinds of things. For example, steel is used to make knives, utensils, cars, bridges, etc. Right? So, an object can be made of different materials. For example, chair is made up of variety of materials. A particular material can make different objects. For example, let's think of paper. Paper is used to make books, notebooks, toys, paper toys. Okay, let's say if you want to get a dress stitched, a beautiful dress for yourself, you already know that dress is made up of clothes. It can be cotton, polyester, right? So why your dress is not made up of wood? Can you do that? Why do you select cloth? Why not wood? So how do you decide which material is used to make a particular object? Okay, why utensils are made up of metal, not clothes? Okay, agenda of this lesson is that how we decide which material is used to make which object. Okay, so let's say you want a container that store water. So you say cloth or plastic, which is a better option? Of course, plastic. If you use cloth, as soon as you pour water, water will pass through the cloth. So, what decided here that plastic would be a better choice? The property of a plastic and cloth. So, plastic is more stable, cloth is flexible and stretchable. So, here we moved a step ahead. Different material have different properties. Okay. So, this property decide which material is used to make which object. So you can take another example. For example, jewelry. Jewelry metal की आप prefer करोगे या paper की? Of course metal. Okay, so different materials have different properties. So properties of materials. Okay, appearance, texture, hardness, lustrous, non-lustrous, state, soluble or insoluble, floating or sinking, transparency. So how sorting helps? Let's say we want to make a cell. Okay, so you have 4 options: wood, metal, glass or paper. So out of this, which option you choose to make a bell? Bell. Let's say we want to make a bell. Okay, so wood, metal, glass or paper. Out of these, which option you choose to make a bell? Obviously metal. Why not wood? Wood doesn't produce sound, right? So when we talk about sorting, different material divide into different groups on the basis of properties, right? So why we are doing sorting? Because it helps us to understand the properties of different materials. So materials are sorted based on properties. So let's start with appearance. So appearance means external. It's an external property. Okay. On one hand we have a sample of wood, on other hand we have a sample of gold. So gold is shiny, wood is dull, right? You know that. So appearance of metals in their pure state have a luster, shine. So that is why we use metal to make jewelries, right? So metals आपके कौन कौन से? For example, gold, silver, copper, zinc, aluminium, iron, sodium, magnesium, potassium. So we have a lot of materials which do not have luster. Example, wood, pen, plastic, right? Clothes, they doesn't have shine of its own. In order to look shiny, we add some other substances, right? So this is all about appearance. Okay, so next property is texture. Different materials feel different when you touch them, right? So that is why they have different textures. For example, metal is hard and smooth, whereas wool is soft and rough. Bark is rough to touch and flower petals are soft, right? So objects can be grouped into two categories, that is soft materials and hard materials, right? So hard materials are difficult to compress, you can't stretch. Soft materials can be easily stretched or compressed, so you can press into different shapes. Okay, so hardness varies metal to metal. Certain substances have smooth surfaces and certain substances have rough surfaces. If you think mirror, so mirror has a smooth surface. Stainless steel spoon has a smooth surface. You think of stones, pebbles, which makes surface very rough, right? So this is all about texture. Okay, so your next property is luster. So luster means shiny. Luster आप किसे कहते हैं? जिसे shiny, right? So a metal spoon shines but a wooden spoon doesn't shine so much, right? Silk cloth has a shine but woolen cloth doesn't. So we say that metal has more luster than wood and silk has more luster than wool. Some metals lose their luster. Luster means shiny appearance when exposed to air and moisture. For example, iron, which has to be then rubbed with a sandpaper to regain its shine, right? For example, आपने सुना होगा, you have heard about the rusting of iron, जिसमें जंग लग जाता है, right? So जंग लगा हुआ iron कभी भी shiny नहीं होता है, right? So iron which has to be then rubbed with a sandpaper to regain its shine. Okay, luster means shiny appearance. Here you can see some of the lustrous and non-lustrous materials. These are the lustrous materials and these are the non-lustrous materials. Okay, and here you can see the pictures of rough and smooth surfaces. You can see rough surface as well as you can see smooth surface. Flower petals जैसे हो गया. So next property is taste. Okay, this we will study in our next class. Rest of the properties we will discuss in our next class. Okay, so that's all for today. Bye everyone. Have a nice day. Take care.